Hello and welcome to Your Psychic Channel. Why do I call it Your Psychic Channel? Because my aim is to help you, each and every one of you and my clients, to connect with your own, whatever you call it, higher self, or some people call it superconscious. Some people even call it source, whatever it is you feel you're connecting to. And what I want to do through this channel is to give you some tips and advice coming from myself and other people, hopefully on the channel, talking about how to connect with spirit. Being psychic, it's a little bit like a muscle, and it's a muscle that needs to be used every day if possible. And I'll be giving you some handy tips on how to do that. Some easy basic things on how to get started. People ask me, is everybody psychic? And yes, I believe everybody is born with at least 6 senses. We're just taught that we're not 6 sensory beings, that we're 5 sensory beings, but that simply isn't true. And I'm going to teach you every week how to use your psychic muscles, how to improve your psychic skills. And I also do what's called quantum healing hypnosis therapy, as taught by the wonderful Dolores Cannon. And I was fortunate enough to be taught by her daughter, Julia Cannon, in Oxford. And that was absolutely amazing experience. And another experience I had whilst on this amazing trip in Oxford was I had the honour of being in the inner circle of Stonehenge, standing on the ley lines very early, about 5:30 in the morning. And I feel like really amazing things happened when I was there. And I really feel this enabled me to have a lot higher psychic abilities than I had ever had before. This was something I asked for, as opposed to asking for wealth or prosperity. I asked for to be able to hone my psychic abilities as well, and this did actually happen. When I came back, we were fortunate enough to visit some crop circles as well, and some absolutely amazing things happened in the crop circles. And what I mean by that is the energy was just out of this world, or it was just absolutely amazing. I can't even tell you, and I think that helped me as well. When I came back, I was just doing quantum healing hypnosis with my clients, and I started getting very interested in reading about Edgar Cayce, who was the sleeping prophet. I think he was born around the mid 1800s in America, and what he could do was he could lie down and he could literally tune in to anybody in any continent, anywhere in the world. And basically what he did was he would tune into their physical body, if they had any illnesses, what illnesses they had. And I remember thinking, well, before my client comes just for hypnosis tomorrow, I'm going to tune in to him. And I got a pen and paper and I started writing down everything that was coming to my mind. All I needed was peace and quiet to be able to actually listen to the messages I was being given. And the messages I was being given was all about his childhood, very, very important things about his childhood, which he did acknowledge were true. And the other thing was his past lives as well. This particular client kept saying from as early as he could remember, 4 or 5 years of age, that he had been a military soldier And he kept saying to his parents, "Oh, I'm not an ordinary boy, I'm a military soldier." And when I was doing the past lives for him the night before he arrived, not knowing anything about him whatsoever, all this information, military, was coming up all the time. And before I actually did the hypnosis and past life regression with him, where he actually goes to the past lives himself, I said, well, instead of actually telling you what I've got written down here, I'm going to ask you, what do you think you did? And he actually said, oh, undoubtedly military. And I had all the notes written down so I could corroborate the information with him. And the information I had written down corresponded exactly to what he knew he had done in a past life. So not only that, but I knew his career, he was a musician, and I was also told he wasn't happy in his on the path he was going in with the group he was currently playing in, and that he had a different calling still as a musician. And also the reason that his soul chose to be born into this lifetime was because he knew that fighting and war was wrong, and that he'd come back to spread the word about peace through his music. And I was told to tell him that Source is working with him. So every time I had another client ringing up for hypnotherapy, I would tune into them, and I would find out exactly all about their life and their childhood. And that's what prompted me to do spiritual readings for clients as well. And I was actually booked during this wonderful, interesting phase of what we're calling lockdown. I was actually booked by a bioenergy company as well, and they asked me to do energy readings for every single one of their employees. So that kept me extremely busy during this lockdown. So for me, it's been a time of absolutely manic work. I do feel for people who've been suffering with emotional problems or mental health problems, and I know that you're going to be fine during this lockdown. When I tuned into spirit, or what some people call the superconscious, or I call it, some people call it source. When I tuned in last night, they actually told me to put this on my YouTube channel, and it is a message for of hope for everybody, and especially anybody suffering. And I'll just go and get the paper and read that for you now. Thanks. Some people call it channeling. I call it downloading. And this is a message I was asked to read out on the channel today. And it's to anybody who's really suffering, feeling a little bit desperate at the moment. And they've told me to tell you, if you will just wait a little while longer, it will all have been worth it. And this is referring to the lockdown and everything that's going on at the moment. And this, I promise to you, and I've always kept my promise to you, haven't I? Just as a loving parent keeps to their promise or agreement with their child and would never ever disappoint you. So they want you to just wait a little while longer with this whole lockdown furore going on at the moment, and it will all have been worth it. They've also gone on to say, you've all agreed to these circumstances before birth on a soul level, and for this what's going on at the moment to be part of your journey. Please do enjoy the trip or the journey, because you don't even know and they've said gleaming jewels are awaiting you. This is the Garden of Paradise, they say, we're living in. We're nearly there, brothers and sisters. Be there for one another, hold each other, and hold on to one another as if your very life depended on it. They've told me to tell you we are already victorious. We have already won this spiritual battle. Sure, there'll always be small surprises or bumps along the way. It wouldn't be very interesting otherwise. Stay calm, carry on, but not in the old way. We can't go back to that anymore. We've got to move on. Take everything you've learned and learn to apply it. We are here in service to others. Look after thyself too. This is so important. And please always ask for help. When you ask for help from your family or friends, when you reach out, but especially when you ask for help in spirit, it will always be given. Always. And that was the end of the message I was asked to put on the channel today. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy this channel, and it is your channel for you. Take care. See you soon. Bye.